Welcome to Hilary Emmanuel Ministries, where faith meets power, purity and prosperity, and breakthroughs are born. At Diadem, we equip you with bold prayers, life-transforming teachings, and spiritual strategies to overcome every challenge life throws your way. Join us as we dive into God's Word, experience His presence like never before, and walk in His purpose for our lives. If you're in London, we invite you to fellowship with us in person at Diadem, 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. Don't forget to subscribe now and let's grow in faith together.
It's a day of battle and war, but not just ordinary war. It is a cold-blooded war, and we are going to fight for our heads and our crowns. That's why I said it's a cold-blooded war. We're going to fight for our heads and our crowns. And that's why I'm talking to you on what I call cold-blooded war for your head and your crown. There's something about the creation you need to understand. When God created everything, particularly when He created human beings, there were a lot of things the Lord put in place in the life of man that are not visible, that are spiritual in nature. And those things that are not seen, those things that are spiritual in nature, that are not visible, they carry more weight. They determine more of the outcome of the life of every man. Look at one of them in Psalm 8. Psalm 8. Look at verse 4. He says, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" He said, what is human being after all? That you are always thinking about them. That you are always trying to do things for human beings. What are they? He said, what is man that thou art mindful of him? And the Son of Man that thou visitest him. Verse 5. For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels. Do you see that? He said in the ranking, in the spirit realm, after the angels of God, man comes next. That's our rank. That's our position. After the angels of God, we are the next in rank. So he said, what is man exactly? But look at us, brethren. Look at man on earth. Do we resemble anything that near angels? Apart from wickedness. So, but that is the mystery. That's not all. Look at what he said further. And has crowned him with glory and honor. Which means every single person born into this world came into this world with a crown. We all had crown, but it's an invisible crown. And it says the crown of glory and honor. Crown of glory and honor. Then where is the crown? And why did God put crown in the head of every man, every woman? Why did God crown us with glory and honor? You must understand the importance, because crown has its symbolism and meaning, and there's something the crown is supposed to do in our lives. There's something the crown is supposed to do in our lives. Verse 6. Thou madest him to have dominion. Do you see that? That's what crown does. Dominion. He gives you dominion. Have you seen kings where they rule? They have dominion. Why is it that when kings rule, people don't jump out and say, who are you to make such law? Nobody says a word. Dominion. Kings can decide and say, I want everybody to pay this amount of money. And nobody will say a word. Why? Because of the dominion, and the dominion comes from the crown. It's the power of the crown. Just like in this country, around 1066 AD, King William I made a law and seized all the land of this nation. Said they belong to the crown. Do you know nobody challenged him? Do you know that tomorrow the land belongs to them? They now begin what you call feudalism, whereby they will appoint you as knight to fight their wars, and they will give you a portion of land. And then you begin to serve based on that land. And your service is to fight their wars. You go and conquer more territory. And it's because of the power of the crown. That's why they can go to places like Argentina and go and collect land there. Go to places like Nigeria. Go and sign, your great-grandfather will sign a document and hand over the land to them. go to India, and they will sign agreement and hand over their land to them. It's the power of the crown. And it's the power of the crown that will make them to sit in their house, and other people will be bringing their wealth to them like King Solomon. It's the crown. And that is how God created human beings. That we should have dominion and just sit down and things will be flowing into our lives. That's how it should be. That's how it's supposed to be. Do you remember the prayer that Jacob prayed for his children? When he got to the turn of Joseph, he talked about the blessings of the progenitors. He said it should be deposited on the head, on the crown of Joseph. He said, and because of that crown, his enemies, his brethren, they hated him, the archers, and they shot at him. What were they targeting when they were shooting? Is the crown. Brethren, if the crown you came with from heaven is still in your head, your life will just begin to move forward. The crown, the crown, the crown of glory. That's what the Bible calls it. He said, a crown man with glory and honor. Do you know that there are some tribes that even name children? When they give birth to children, they name them. When they see the glory of that child, they give them that name. There are some they call Adeola, the crown of wealth. What did they see? They saw something before they gave such name. But if you are not careful, when the enemies attack that head and that crown, so you now begin to see, brethren, that the importance of our head and our crowns is very serious. Look at what he said further. He said, because of that crown of glory and honor, he made him to have dominion over thy works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. That's how it should be. That's how God designed it. That's how God programmed it. Everything should naturally be under our feet, under our control. Look at verse 7. He said, all sheep and oxen, yea, and the beast of the fields, the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the path of the seas. The Lord our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. So you see how God planned everything and crowned man. How I wished that nobody touched the head. How I prayed that nobody touched the crown, that they left the crown to operate on its own. But unfortunately, it is not like that. Every crown has an enemy. Wherever you see crown, immediately Satan saw the crown upon the head of man. What did he do? He came for the crown. He attacked the crown. He snatched the crown. He took the crown away from man. Look at, so every man born into this earth come with the invisible crown of glory and honor. And that's what makes us to have dominion, power, to rule over all the creations of God. Unfortunately, the crown are the first point of attack. Immediately after birth, humans have eyes. Human beings that can see into the spirit realm. When they say the crown, that's what they want to collect first. Isaiah chapter 9. Isaiah chapter 9. Look at verse 4. For thou hast broken the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. Now, this is a prophecy of Isaiah. Isaiah is talking about fighting. He's talking about oppressor. He's talking about rod and yoke that the enemy put upon somebody. He said, you have broken all those things. And now he went to verse 5 and said, for every battle of the warrior. Brethren, what we are talking about here today involves battle. If your crown is still standing on your head, the crown you came with from heaven, you need battle to keep it there. You need battle to protect it. If the crown is gone, you don't even know whether you had crown before. No, talk of when they took it. If the crown was gone already, you need war to look for it, to recover it. He said that every battle of the warrior is with what? You are going to scream like a mad person. He says with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. That's why I told you it's going to be cold-blooded war. Garments rolled in blood. He said, but let me tell you about one unique battle. Let me tell you about one special battle that is coming. He said, but this battle I'm talking about shall be with burning and fuel of fire. That's why it's going to be cold-blooded. He's introducing a brand new war. What kind of war? That is not going to be only with shouting, camels rolling blood. He said now you have to introduce fire and fuel into that battle. What kind of battle is this? Now he now went to verse 6. For unto us. How was the connection between verse 5 and verse 6? How do they relate together? How can you jump from one sentence? You are saying something else. You jump and started to talk about a child again. You were talking about war and fuel and fire and camel rolled in blood. From there straight away into a child. Now look at what he said. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government. Do you see that? The government. I told you, there's where you have a government, you have a kingdom, a ruler that is in charge of that government. And where you have a ruler, a king, then you have a crown. He said a child is going to come that is going to wear the crown. There's going to be a child that is going to be born a king. And he's going to be the owner of that kingdom. And that child is going to champion a war, a cold-blooded war. What is this battle all about? Let's read on. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God. A child, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government. So this whole battle from verse 5 is about his government. It's about the attack on his government. And if you attack his government, you're attacking the crown. And we are going to see how that unfolded, brethren, this prophecy. So for you to understand that if God has called you, if God has created you, if God has put a crown on your head, there's going to be war over it. There's going to be battle over it. Don't just assume that, well, the crown should be there, I should think so. You need to even pray and ask God, Lord, open my eyes, let me see my head. Let me see what is even there. So that it will not be something else that you are carrying up and down, thinking you are still wearing crown. Because look at that child. Look at that child. He said, of the increase of government and peace shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom. So it's about kingdom. And it's about throne. And that's why crown is involved. To order it and to establish with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. So this was the prophecy about Jesus, describing him as a king that has a government. So in that vein, he will have a royal crown. He will be wearing a crown of glory and honor, both the one he came with from heaven and the one that the kingdom here offer him. But let's see what his enemy did. Let's see. That was why the prophecy for introduced battle and war. So that you know how to fight against your own enemy. So that you know how to fight for your head and your crown. Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Look at verse 27. Matthew 27 verse 27. He said, then the soldiers of the governor. Do you see that now? So people that attack heads and crowns, they are not ordinary people. They are also warriors. So he said the soldiers of the governor took Jesus. They took him into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. Brother, do you know that this is what they did to some people here? They took you to a hall of witchcraft, a hall of sorcerers, a hall of occultists, a hall of foundational wickedness. And you don't know. They took you there and all their soldiers, their warriors, their wicked people, they surrounded you. They surrounded you. And there was nothing else they are looking for apart from the head, which is the destiny, and the crown on the head. That's all they wanted to deal with. The head and the crown. Verse 28. And what did they do? Are you there with me? And they stripped him. This is the case of almost every human being born on earth. Stripping people. And the first thing to remove easily is the crown. That one is just to remove it like this. They stripped him. They removed it. And put on him a scarlet robe. They removed the original and put something else on him. That's why I told you, you might need to pray and say, Lord, show me my head first of all, so that I know what I am carrying up and down. You might think that you are still wearing the crown you came with from heaven, not knowing that it's cocoyam leaf they used to wrap your head. They collected you. Do you know the garment of Jesus? Do you know him? The garment, nobody knew where he got it from. They said there's no place they sew it, no joint. It was not sewn anywhere. And as he was growing, the garment was growing with him. You think that was ordinary garment. And the garment never get dirty. They strip. Those are the things we come with from heaven, brethren. We came with so many things from heaven. The first thing the enemy do is to strip that person, collect everything, especially the crown. Look at what happened. Verse 29. So they now strip and they put their own on him. And when they had plaited the crown of thorns, because they don't want to leave the head like that without crown, they removed the original, the one of glory and honor, and they put the thorn, the painful one, on him. Do you know that some of the pain we are going through today could be the thorn they put on our head? Could be the kind of crown they manufactured in the foundation to give us perpetual pain, to make us to bleed non-stop. They put it upon his head and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him and mocked him. That's the crown of mockery, the crown of jest, the crown of caricature. They put a crown upon his head and they started to mock him. When you see things not going straight in so many people's life, when you see somebody's life become a mockery, check the head. Check the kind of crown that person is wearing. So they mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." They knew he was a king. They knew he came with the original crown from heaven because Isaiah talked about it. Now they've removed that crown. They've removed everything. And they've put the one of mockery and shame on him. Brethren, this is why I said today is going to be a bloody war. Verse 30. And they now spit on him. They spit on him. When you see in life somebody that should be honorable in life, that respect himself or herself, but almost everywhere the person gets to, everybody spit on that person. They don't take you serious. Little children will insult you. Adults will molest you. This one will do this. They are spitting on you literally. It's because there's something that's attracting it. So they spit upon him, and they took the reed and smote him on the head. Verse 31. And after that, they had mocked him. They took the robe off from him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. Verse 32. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they had come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, which means there are many heads that have perished in that place too. And that means many crowns that have been stolen in that place. So Jesus was not the first one. Possibly you are not the first person in your foundation. Possibly the great stars, the great glory and honor in your foundation, that's how they have been stripping them from generation to generation. So there are so many skulls that did not wear the crown they came with from heaven. Many skulls, the place of skull. Verse 34. They gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall. And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. This is what I'm talking about. When they attack the head, attack the crown, the person's life will be full of bitterness. Bitterness. All life will be offering is bitter gall day by day. Verse 35. And they crucified him and parted his garment, casting lot, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. Which prophet? Isaiah. Isaiah, that same prophet. They parted my garment among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lot. Verse 36. And sitting down, they washed him there, and set up over his head his accusation, written, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." So they knew he was a king, because that was what Isaiah said, that a child is going to be born, and is going to be a prince, is going to be a Lord, a counselor, the Almighty God. They knew he was a king. Now they've removed the original crown and they've put a crown of pain, a crown of shame, a crown of embarrassment upon him. They stripped him naked. Verse 39. And they that pass by, take note now, when somebody is wearing the crown that is not the one God put upon you, when you are going up and down with the crown of the enemy on your head and you don't know it, these are the signs. These are the signs. People that are passing by, they don't even know what happened. They don't even know what was going on. But because of the crown they saw on his head, look at what happened. What the crown of the enemy started to attract. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads. When you see people begin to pity you, anywhere they see you, they pity you, they shake their head. It's the crown they see. It's the thorn, the pain, the sorrow, the affliction. It's what they see you wearing. That's why they are shaking their head. Verse 40. And they say, saying, thou that destroyed the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. When they begin to use this kind of language on you, physician, heal yourself. You say you are a child of God. Why is God not helping you? Where is your God? It's because there is a crown you are wearing that is not your own. There's a crown on your head that shouldn't be there. Verse 41. Likewise also the chief priest mocking him with the scribes and the elders said, he saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the king of Israel, let him now come down from the cross and we will believe him. Do you see what the crown of the enemy will be attracting? Verse 43. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now. If you have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? This is exactly what happened when the enemy succeeds in forcing the crown that is not your own upon you. You will pray, you will cry. It will be as if God is not answering your prayers anymore. It will be as if God is not answering prayers. Jesus himself had to cry out, Lord, why hast thou forsaken me? Verse 49. The rest said, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he has cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. Brethren, the battle for our heads and our crown is not a joke. It's not a joke. Sometimes all the enemies need to do is to attack the head and go away. They don't come back because they know they have done the job. They know the head, having altered the head can never fulfill the destiny again. They know that the crown they removed, without that crown, it's impossible for that person to be anybody again. Do you know what God had to do for Joseph? He had to bring him to the king's palace, to Pharaoh's house, and put another crown on his head. Because his siblings, they've removed the original one. That's what the father was saying. His father was saying when he was praying for them. He said they hated him. The archers attacked him. So the Lord had to put a brand new crown on his head. And that's the prayer we are going to pray here today. That if our original crowns are gone, God will put a brand new one on our heads. Job chapter 19. Job chapter 9. I'm showing you now the victims. People that have had their head and crown tampered with. Look at their testimony. Job chapter 19. Look at verse 7. Look at verse 7. He said, behold, I cry out of wrong. He said, the thing that was done to me is wrong. Brethren, is it not wrong? Jehovah God said Job was the perfect man. Job was the most righteous person on earth. And then Satan decided that I must surely attack him. Is that not wrong? So he said, I cried out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there's no judgment, nobody to rescue me. Verse 8. He has fenced up my way that I cannot pass. When they attack the head, when they attack the crown, it's like they put a fence, they put the person inside the garden, inside the prison. He said, he has fenced me, there's no place I can escape to. And he has set darkness in my path. Verse 9. He has stripped me of my glory. He has removed my crown. And taken the crown. Are you following me at all, brethren? He said, he has taken the crown from my head. Do you see the attack Job suffered? Do you see what Satan did to Job? That all those things we just saw that, well, Job lost all his properties, lost his business, lost his children, lost this one, and became sick, and so on. He said that was not exactly how it ended. He said all Satan did was attack the head, attack the glory, remove the crown. That was all. And all of that thing that happened to Job were the consequence, the impacts. He said he has taken everything, removed the crown from my head, verse 10. He has destroyed me on every side. Do you see the impact I'm talking about? If you take away somebody's crown, you destroy that person on every side. So he has destroyed me on every side, and I am gone. And my hope has he removed like a tree. Take a crown away from anybody, that person is gone. Remove the crown of glory from any head, that person can never make it again except a miracle happens, except a deliverance happens. And that was why you see that in Job chapter 42, Jehovah God had to come and restore a new crown onto his head and gave him a brand new crown before things started to come back to his life. He said he took away his glory and his crown, and everything was gone. And look at Revelation chapter 3. Look at verse 11. Revelation chapter 3 verse 11, he said, behold, I come quickly. Hold fast that which thou hast, that no man take that, which means human beings can take people's crown. Human beings can take people's crown. Say, hold your crown tight. Protect your head and your crown, that no man take your crown away from you. Why was Jesus saying this? If you read the verse that followed, he was talking about his kingdom. Because you need crown to be able to be in a kingdom, to rule in a kingdom. He said on the throne, those who will sit with him in his kingdom. If you are going to sit and rule in a kingdom, you need a crown. Without crown, you cannot rule anything. And that's why, brethren, we are going to fight. And we are going to fight with fuel and fire for our head and for our crown. And if the enemies have damaged the crown or taken it or stolen or sold it, or handed it over far away that we cannot reach it anymore, like that king of Moab, that they collected his crown and put it on head of David. That one was gone. There's no day you can go and collect it back from David again. So if they have taken our crown far, maybe somebody in China is wearing your own now. We have to cry for a brand new one, that God will send a new crown from heaven. And that's what is going to happen here tonight. Let's begin to talk to the Lord. We are going to first of all cry unto God and say, my God and my Father, everything that I have done, where I have been reckless. You don't understand. Do you remember Samson? Samson was the ruler, the king, the judge of the whole land of Israel. The Bible says he judged Israel for 20 years. He was supposed to be a king. He had a crown and a great head. But what was he doing? He was careless with that head and the crown. He was putting that head on the laps of Delilah. That one, first of all, removed that crown, shaved the head, and then finally they crushed the head in pieces. My God and my Father, everything that I have done to expose my head.
Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to join our growing community of faith. You've just listened to the sermon, but there are powerful prayers that follow. Due to social media rules and guidelines, the prayers have been removed from this video. However, you can access the full prayers and more life-changing resources by visiting www.pastorhillary.org or downloading our app, Diadem Media. If you're in the London area, we'd love to have you fellowship with us in person at 4 Peckham Road, N18 2NG. If you have any questions about this message, want counseling from Pastor Hillary, or wish to share your testimonies following the prayers, please leave a comment below and someone from our team will get in touch. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly and guide you in all your ways. Stay victorious.